Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're going to be talking about the Chicago Bears. Although they went 3-14 last season, Justin Fields demonstrated that he is more likely than not that guy. He's the quarterback the Chicago Bears want to build around. He threw for 17 touchdowns. He ran for almost 1,200 yards. As a quarterback, he averaged 76.2 yards per game, 8 rushing touchdowns, 25 total touchdowns for JF1 last season. So, yeah. The Bears' offensive line was abysmal. There weren't too many threats. There were some threats. Darnell Mooney. But, for the most part, it wasn't great. So what did the Chicago Bears do? Well, we saw the addition of Chase Claypool last year via trade, a guy who had over 850 receiving yards in his first 2 years in the league. They picked up a great move in DJ Moore that they acquired in that trade package, getting rid of the first-round pick. Keep in mind, DJ Moore last season, 900 yards, 700 touchdowns with the abysmal Carolina Panthers offense. Prior to that, 3 straight seasons with over 1,100 receiving yards. DJ Moore was an established wide receiver 1. The reason the question marks are coming out right now is because the Carolina Panthers last year had Baker Mayfield, PJ Walker, and Sam Darnold start their games for them. So it was not good. DJ Moore, after they traded CMC, was pretty much outside of D'Onta Foreman, who the Chicago Bears also picked up in free agency. DJ Moore and D'Onta Foreman really were the only bright spots within the Carolina Panthers offense. So Ryan Poles very clearly believes in Justin Fields. The Chicago Bears very clearly believe in Justin Fields. They picked up Tyler Scott. They went out there, they signed veterans Robert Tonyan and Mercedes Lewis. Mercedes Lewis more of a veteran than Tonyan, but Tanyan's still been in the league for a couple of years. He had 11 touchdowns in 2020. Before we get any further into today's video, if you guys enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button. Bears fans, if you guys want more videos, let me know down below. I am going to the Packers at Bears Week 1. I am so freaking excited. So excited for it. You can try and get this video to 250 likes. That would mean the world to me. So, I've always found it fascinating, the discussion around Justin Fields. The reality is this: the Chicago Bears offensively for many seasons now, they've been holding on to scraps talent-wise. Guys like Allen Robinson that just didn't fit their timeline. So DJ Moore, we take a look at DJ Moore and his superstar speed, that deep threat that he has, 14.1 yards per reception last year, 18.1 yards per reception in 2020 where he caught 1,200 yards, 4 touchdowns. Pretty good for me. Does that sound like a wide receiver 1 statistics? Because it does to me. Darnell Mooney, an established young rising star in the National Football League that dealt with injuries last season. Prior to that, a 1,000-yard receiving season in his sophomore campaign. He's coming in here, former 5th round pick in the 2020 draft. He is trying to break out into stardom this upcoming season. And I'll tell you this: if Justin Fields turns into a star this upcoming season, which I think he will be, Darnell Mooney is going to have a phenomenal year. He's probably going to have easily over 1,000 yards, along with DJ Moore. Keep in mind, guys, Justin Fields coming out of college. Justin Fields' last season in college was a little bit weird because it was the COVID season. So Ohio State only played 8 games. He still did really good. 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. But the year prior to that, we saw a full season of Justin Fields. 14 games, completion percentage of 67.2, 41 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. So my big thing with Chicago, but more importantly, more specifically, Justin Fields, I want to see that passing attack get back to what I know he is. He has a cannon. Now, with that being said, he didn't really have any time at all last season in the pocket. So he was scrambling. He was extending plays every single play. Braxton Jones, a late draft steal from last year's class, coming in at left tackle. So the Chicago Bears, they'd make a couple of moves on the offensive line at the right side of things. Nate Davis, via free agency, really solid, veteran-esque right guard. Right tackle, their first-round draft pick, the pick they used after they traded away number 1 to trade down, they take Darnell Wright, probably the best offensive tackle in the entire draft. So their right side it's money to me. The left side with Braxton Jones at left tackle, I like it. Tevin Jenkins, if he is healthy, is a stud. He's a stud if he can stay healthy. Some question marks at center. But I think Cody Whitehair is perfectly fine. And I also think Lucas Patrick, former Packer, is also perfectly fine. So is this going to be, the best offensive line next season? No. But in the future, man, you have Nate Davis. You have 2 young core pieces on the edges. Darnell Wright, Braxton Jones. I mean, you're looking pretty good right there. Another addition in the draft, Tyler Scott. Now, it's weird. Tyler Scott didn't get much noise last year in Cincinnati. Took him in, the 4th round. Trey Tucker was selected in the 3rd round, the first wide receiver taken out of Cincinnati, which is weird because Tyler Scott had a better year last year than Trey Tucker. 54 catches, 900 yards, 9 touchdowns, but here's the best part. 16.6 yards per catch. In his 3 years at Cincinnati, wasn't really utilized in his first 2 years, still played a little bit more in his sophomore year, didn't play much in his freshman year, but in college, yards per catch, 16.5. So the Chicago Bears have surrounded Justin Fields with playmakers. DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool, new addition Tyler Scott. Don't forget about Velus Jones Jr. Velus Jones Jr. was selected in the 3rd round 1 year ago. Dealt with a bunch last season. A lot of stupid mistakes, a lot of fumbles, specifically in special teams. Look for that to be cleared up this upcoming season. But you still have solid wide receiver depth outside of the 5 guys I just named. Burgers and Fries, Equanimeous St. Brown, Dante Pettis. These are solid depth wide receivers. Keep in mind, wide receiver rooms are never, ever fully healthy for a whole NFL season. At the running back position, they moved on from David Montgomery, which I think was the best call. I think Khalil Herbert has that X factor. I think he is a born playmaker. Dante Foreman, a great second half last year once the Panthers unloaded CMC. Dante Foreman went to work. 914 yards rushing last year with Carolina. 4.5 yards per carry with that abysmal offense that they had last year. Keep in mind, they started the season with CMC. He still almost ran for 1,000 yards. And new addition, Rashawn Johnson, who kind of has pretty much been totally forgotten about outside of Bears fans because they took him. NFL draft nerds or just college football fans last year see the value in Rashawn Johnson. All 3 of those guys can catch the ball. It's going to make Justin Fields' job a lot more easier. At the tight end position, you have the guy I sat next to in, math class? My high school, classmate? Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet, really solid tight end. He just got paid this past season, 544 yards and 7 touchdowns. But as we mentioned earlier on in the video, they picked up a great veteran in Mercedes Lewis, who is still a red zone threat even at this age. But he's a phenomenal blocker. He's 39 years old, but he is a phenomenal blocker. And Robert Tonyan. Last year, 470 yards, 2 touchdowns with the Green Bay Packers. If we go back 3 years ago, he had 11 touchdowns. He was a huge red zone favorite for Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be a huge red zone favorite for Mr. Justin Fields. So a bunch of red zone threats at the tight end position in Cole Kmet and Robert Tonyan. I think the offensive line has severely improved, and the offense in general has really improved. What I want to see from Justin Fields this upcoming season is that cannon I know he has. I know he can make plays. I know he's a stud athlete. I know he can run. We know he can run. I want to see that cannon. And I think he has enough time in the pocket now to make that happen. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, but most importantly, give me some projections on Justin Fields this upcoming season.